Bill, how confident are you that we as a global community will deal with the next pandemic better?
I love coming to Australia.
Well, can I welcome you here very much? We haven't met before, but I've admired your work.
Yes, welcome back. Recently, I came across this trending news on Twitter. Bill Gates want Australia to prepare for the next pandemic, which could be man-made and far more brutal than COVID. He went further to criticize the United States under Donald Trump leadership, threatening to withdraw from the World Health Organization and withholding funding. So on this clip, we are going to take an exclusive look into what is going on exactly. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, why not share this video? This might create an awareness for people to be informed for things they have not seen.
Bill, how confident are you that we as a global community will deal with the next pandemic better?
Well, there were a lot of people in 2015 who were talking about what needed to be done. And in this pandemic, the countries that had some exposure to SARS-CoV-1 were amongst the outliers. So Australia is a true outlier. They orchestrated diagnostics, they executed quarantine policies, and they have a death rate in a different league than the other rich countries. I mean, just utterly different. And everybody had the capability to do that. They, have less PCR machines than other rich countries. It wasn't something, they had more travelers come.
Yes, taking a look at this clip, you realize this was in 2022. A similar questions came up to him partaking to the next pandemic. The question a lot of people are asking, how can you determine the next pandemic?
Gates at Kirribilli.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Bill the billionaire welcomed by the PM and his pooch. The Microsoft founder in Australia with his foundation and his company Breakthrough Energy, aiming to accelerate sustainability and reduce greenhouse gases.
I love coming to Australia.
Well, can I welcome you here very much? We haven't met before, but I've admired your work.
Both the foundation and Breakthrough Energy are excited about the things we can do together.
The pair discussed pandemic preparedness, climate change and the global energy transition amid energy challenges here at home.
According to this article published by Daily Mail, tech billionaire Bill Gates has warned Australia to be ready for the next pandemic, which could be man-made and far more brutal. Going down on the article, Mr. Gates told the Lower Institute think tank in Sydney on Monday that political leaders needed to set aside their differences and work together to prepare for the next virus. He called for greater global cooperation, using the COVID pandemic as an example of how countries could improve on their response if they work together. Compare the economic cost of being prepared for the next one to the cost of this one. Over 10 trillion economic loss, he said. With the pandemic, we were foolish not to have the tools, the practice and global capacity to be on standby like we do with fire or earthquake. Mr. Gates praised Australian policies in helping to keep infection rates low before vaccines were ruled out. Some of the things that stand out are that Australia and about 7 other countries did population scale diagnostic early on and had quarantine policy, he said. That meant you kept the level of infection low in that first year when there were no vaccines. The Microsoft founder turned philanthropist said unstable international order based on natural political will is needed in order to deal with future pandemic. The one thing that still hangs in the balance is we will have the global capacity at the regional and country level. That would mean that when threat comes up, we act in such a way that it doesn't go global. Mr. Gates said, every 5 years, a comprehensive exercise at both countries and regional levels of the pandemic preparedness, and you need a global group that is covering everybody. Mr. Gates has promised to donate half of the fortune to good causes and try to bring equality to health, energy, and education industry
than the other rich countries. I mean, just utterly different. And everybody had the capability to do that. They, have less PCR machines than other rich countries. It wasn't something. They had more travelers coming in from China than other countries. So hopefully, given the so many negative things, not just the millions of deaths and the economic toll, but the lack of schooling, depression, overdose deaths. I mean, it's hard to make the entire list. As you say, for men, more men died. For women, more women had unacceptable burdens thrust onto them. So the cost of being ready for the next pandemic is not super large. It's not like climate change where, 10 trillion, 20 trillion, these are big numbers. A global surveillance capability would cost like $1 billion a year. The R&D that we need to do to get magic vaccines and diagnostics and therapeutics, that's less than $100 billion over the next decade. So, if we're rational, yes, the next time we'll catch it early, and it won't go global like it did this time.
This is actually funny how people can sit down on the conversations, they are discussing the next pandemic. It means they have actually seen that something is coming up. He made it clear that this one will be more brutal, something we have never seen before. And it could be man-made. Sometimes when I see things like these, I'm just furious. There is another clip I saw at the World Economic Forum where Brian Stelter said something about misinformation. I don't know if this guy is upright because he is the highest person spreading misinformation.
The clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows a session just now about disrupting distrust, and of course those are connected, so I hope that's where we can start. I'm Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, now a fellow at Harvard University. We can try to put some real information out into the world to make up for all the crazy. I'll tell you a brief, funny, maybe not funny story. So I leave CNN with regards to 2016 and Trump showing that lying works. Has that only become more true in the last 6 years? Do you see evidence that it's less true, hopefully, now? But haven't we seen many Democrats in the last 6 years pressuring Facebook and Twitter and now TikTok to be stronger in content moderation? Hasn't that been a wave that we've seen crash over for years now?
Well, I think this is the question of, ultimately what we're trying to achieve there is some measure of public safety. Right? We're not, sure, there are some politicians who are going to go out and just get angry at Facebook if they see things that are mean. The difference is when, I have a constituency that I'm trying to keep healthy,